Ambuye ndine wanu, nditumeni komwe mukufuna.
I welcome you to this special program in which we will be discussing about the Pallium. As has been announced this month, His Grace Archbishop George Desmond Tambala will be invested with the Pallium on the 28th of January 2023. It is the same Pallium that he received last year on the occasion of the blessing of these Palliums by the Holy Father during the celebration of the Mass, the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul in Rome. Traditionally, the investiture with the Pallium has always taken place in Rome. But in recent history, by the direction of the Holy Father, Pope Francis, the investiture or the imposition of the Palliums will be taking place or has been taking place in the particular metropolitan archdioceses of the particular archbishops who have been appointed by the Holy Father. The Pallium is derived from the Roman pallium or palla, a woolen cloak. It is an ecclesiastical vestment in the Catholic Church, bestowed by the Holy See upon metropolitans and primates as a symbol of their conferred jurisdictional authority. The use of the Pallium by metropolitans did not, in general, be used up until the 8th century. It has to be noted that in the subsequent historical development, there were elements that were added to the ceremony of investing on the metropolitan archbishops with the Pallium. The inclusion were the profession of faith and the oath of fidelity. The use of the Pallium is reserved to the Pope and archbishops who are metropolitans. But later, it may be used, as we will see in the historical development, by others who were not necessarily metropolitans. The Feast of the Blessing of the Palliums takes place on the 29th of June every year on the occasion of the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul. And this always happens in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. His Holiness the Pope, when he directed that this ceremony takes place in the particular churches of the metropolitan bishops, he also directed that nuncios should take charge of these ceremonies, unless otherwise, by his own appointment, others have been asked to preside over these ceremonies. A metropolitan archbishop may wear the Pallium as a mark of his jurisdiction, not only in his own archdiocese, but anywhere in his ecclesiastical province when he celebrates the Mass or the Eucharistic celebration. Although the Pallium is now a reservation by law and the liturgical norms to the metropolitans, a single standing exception has to be pointed out. That Pope St. John Paul II conferred the Pallium on the then Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, who was the Dean of the College of Cardinals, and therefore he gave him the Pallium, and this tradition was continued by Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger when he became Pope Benedict XVI, when he conferred the same on Cardinal Angelo Sodano, the new Dean of the College of Cardinals. And the same was done by the present Pope, His Holiness Pope Francis, to Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, when he became the new Dean of the College of Cardinals. It has to be mentioned that the Pallium, as worn by the Holy Father or the Pope, symbolizes plenitudo pontificalis officii, meaning the plenitude of the pontifical office. Worn by archbishops, the Pallium typifies their participation in the supreme pastoral power of the Pope, who concedes it to them for their proper church provinces. It has to be noted that the direction by the Pope to have these ceremonies done in the particular churches of the particular archbishops was in the year 2015. Further to this, the Pallium symbolizes the archbishop's unity with the Pope and his authority and responsibility to care for the flock the Pope has entrusted to him. We also have to note that the Pallium is a symbol of the special relationship with the Pope and expresses, besides the power that in the communion with the Church of Rome, the Metropolitan acquires by right in his own jurisdiction. This can be found in the Code of Canon Law, Canon 437. And in that canon, it is expressly mentioned that the Metropolitan must request the Pallium within 3 months of his appointment and may wait only, as indicated above, in the territory of his own diocese and also in his province. I just wanted also to look at something in relation to the same, and I wanted to quote what Pope Benedict XVI said about the Pallium when he was giving his homily during the time of his installation as Pope Benedict. He said, "The symbolism of the Pallium is even more concrete. The lamb's wool is meant to represent the lost, sick, and weak sheep, which the shepherd places on his shoulders and carries to the waters of life." So this is very important for every metropolitan, just as for the Holy Father, on the meaning and understanding of the symbolism of the Pallium that he wears during the celebration of the Eucharist, of the Mass, and also the Holy Father universally wherever he goes to celebrate Mass across the Catholic world. But for the Metropolitan in his own archdiocese, but also in the dioceses of his province, also known as the suffragan dioceses. So this is the understanding of the Pallium. So as we will participate in the Eucharistic celebration on the 28th of January 2023, when His Grace Archbishop George Desmond Tambala will be invested with the Pallium, we have to take note of those things. Firstly, that it is one in his archdiocese and in his province. Secondly, that it typifies his share with the supreme power of the Holy Pontiff. Thirdly, that the wood from which, as referenced by Pope Benedict, the pallium is made, is a symbol of his duty to care for the sick, wounded, and lost, and carry the flock to the waters of life. And further to that, it also symbolizes his work, his duty as the metropolitan. Another note that maybe was not explicitly mentioned or talked about in this special program is that these palliums normally are placed on the tomb of St. Peter the previous night. Before the following day, they are conferred on the Archbishop. Remember that the Holy Father is the representative of Jesus in this world, as was given by Jesus himself to the Apostle Peter when he said, "Tend my flock." And we know that the Pope's ministry is patron ministry within the church, that is the Catholic Church. So I think and I hope that by this program you have heard something, or you have understood the meaning of this ceremony that takes place on the 28th of January in this year of 2023. And there's something that in the Church of Malawi is being done for the first time since the Holy Father directed that the investiture of the Pallium be conducted in the Archbishop's own local church, with the participation of the lay faithful, the priests and religious, and the family of God that constitutes that ecclesiastical province, that particular church, in that particular place. I was Father Frank Phiri, Frank Lazaro Phiri, who was your host in this special program of the Pallium. Thank you.